Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing the Radeon RX 6700 XT in Forza Horizon 5. This one is the Sapphire Pulse edition of the card. We are running it with the latest AMD drivers and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups. GPU Z resizable bar is also enabled right there. And over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D with half of its cores disabled. So it's basically the same as a Ryzen 7 7800X3D and 32 gigabytes of DDR5 6000 MHz RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings first. I am starting at 1080p resolution using 4x MSAA. The default is 2x, but this isn't as intensive as it is in other games, like Red Dead Redemption, for example. Finally, I'm using the extreme graphics preset here, not the maximum graphics possible, because it could go a little bit higher, but I think this is adequate for a 6700 XT. And let's do this. I just started counting the FPS. This seems like it's going to be an extremely smooth experience. It's kind of sandstormy weather right now, right? Like, not too much, but a little bit. I hope it's not like this in the city area, because I like it when it's clear, you know? Clear skies, it's way more beautiful. But anyway, let's keep on going. It might be slightly more intensive, since it is thunderstormy weather right now. Getting a high-ish refresh rate experience. I thought it was going to be a little bit higher refresh rate, honestly. But it is very stable indeed, and super buttery smooth. Look at the festival area from here. It's getting 100 plus still. Yeah, in my opinion, you should aim for like a 60 plus FPS experience in Forza Horizon 5, because this game is absolutely beautiful, so you should definitely enjoy those visuals as high as possible. Dropping down into the 80s at times, damn. It's getting a little bit intensive right here, but still, it's not a problem, and I think even at 1440p, the 6700 XT should do a good job. Oh no, we lost the license plate. Well, at least we still got Need for Speed Most Wanted right there, which is beautiful indeed. Like, this car is a beauty in itself, right? Okay, we are almost getting to the city, my friends. Here we go. This is where it should drop the most, although we have seen it drop to like the 80s. Oh yeah, I remember. In extreme settings, the vegetation is actually a little bit more intensive than the city area, but getting out of the tunnel should be even more intensive than that. So let's do that. And here we go. Tunnel area, 99 frames. Getting out of the tunnel, 76 frames is the minimum. So no problems whatsoever, right? Like, this is going to be really, really smooth as long as you drive well. Let's go up to 1440p next, okay? And I'm gonna keep the 4x MSAA here at 1440p anyways. No FSR. I mean, you shouldn't really utilize FSR in this game or any other upscaler, because it looks very similar to native resolution, but it also gets very similar FPS to native resolution, so there's no point really. Okay, so 1440p, so much more crispy, man. It's beautiful. Holy crap. If you don't have a 1440p monitor with a 6700 XT, I highly recommend it, guys, because, yeah, the GPU, oh my god, is like 3 years old or something like that, 4 years old maybe, but it still handles itself pretty well at 14... I'm so sorry about my driving, okay? At 1440p resolution in a ton of different titles, right? I mean, in some of them you will need to drop down the settings a little bit. Of course, this is a very well optimized title, so it's not the norm, okay? You can't max out every game out there at 1440p with this card, but it does a good enough job at 1440p medium to high settings in most of the games, even intensive ones, to where I highly recommend the 1440p panel, because it's the PPI, it's so much higher. Anyway, that's enough 1440p talk. If you're interested in a budget 1440p monitor, that's actually pretty decent. Well, check out one of my recent videos. And getting out of the tunnel right there, it only dropped into the 60s, so you don't even need to lower the settings here. Even in the city, it gets very high FPS, and even getting out of the tunnel as well. But again, we are seeing a few frame time spikes here and there. Maybe it's because of the AMD drivers, I don't know. But again, I haven't really seen those very often with the GPUs that I've been testing. And even on AMD APUs, it's a little bit more stable, I think. That's weird, but overall it's a really smooth experience, of course, and very enjoyable one. And if you lock your FPS, those stutters should go away anyways. So now I want to stick to 1440p for a little bit longer and go to this area right here, which has a bit more vegetation, you know, since vegetation is more intensive on extreme settings. Okay, so dropping down into the 70s, kind of the same, actually the same, 76 FPS as we saw at 1080p resolution getting out of the tunnel, but at 1440p it dropped into the 60s, you know. But as you can see, even with a ton of vegetation around us, it doesn't seem to be dropping from like 75 frames per second, 74 right there. All right, so it's pretty stable, pretty smooth. Again, it's 60 plus FPS, so there's no issues whatsoever with that frame rate here. You don't need a high refresh rate one to experience Forza as it should be experienced. And I think, again, you should prioritize graphics over that refresh rate in this particular title. All right, it's time for 4K resolution, and this is going to bring our 6700 XT to its knees, basically. 4 times MSAA still, which doesn't really impact FPS by too much, but I will lower it down a little bit later, okay? Ooh, all right, so it's getting 50s. Okay, I thought it would actually drop a little bit further than that, into like the 30s or something. Ah, this is good still. I mean, not amazing, once again, because it's not 60 plus, and I mean, you gotta prioritize visuals up to a certain point only, right? If that means dropping down from 60 FPS, I don't think this is the way to go, but wow. The 4K resolution with 4 times MSAA in this game, it looks so crispy, it's so beautiful, guys. Especially compared to the recent titles that are all blurry and stuff like that, right? Like, they use AA options that you can't disable, like TAA and stuff, and they just look ugly. The TAA in this game actually looks pretty good, by the way. But the 4 times MSAA, especially at native resolution, and my monitor is 4K, so this is native resolution right now for me. It's so sharp. It's really amazing. You probably can't really see it that well because of YouTube's compression, but I'm gonna stop it right here so you can see all of that detail, you know. You can zoom into the video, by the way, if you're on mobile, and you can see like the little droplets of water on top of the car, for example. Look at that. They're so sharp and detailed at 4K resolution. It's just... This is one of the best games to showcase a monitor, actually. Like, if you bought a new monitor, you want to see what it's capable of, all of the colors, all of the sharpness and detail and stuff. Forza Horizon 5 at extreme settings is just top-notch, guys. Actually, when I bought my favorite monitor, which I am not using in this setup right now, I'm using in my personal setup, okay? But the monitor that I use in my free time is the LG C2 OLED. That's a 4K TV, 42 inches. And this game, man, especially with like a 4080 Super running at 120 FPS on extreme settings, it is, wow. It's just breathtaking, actually. Okay. Anyway, this is... Oh, boy, I thought we were going to crash there. This is a pretty stable experience, nonetheless. Like, it's 4K resolution. It does drop from 60 FPS, but the averages are at 50, and it doesn't really drop from 40 frames per second. So it is playable. It's not what I'd aim for with the 6700 XT, because it can provide better experiences, even at 4K resolution with graphical adjustments, you know. But yeah, this is certainly doable, right? I'm gonna lower this down to 2 times MSAA now, and we're gonna check out how it does like this. It shouldn't be too different, as I said. There is absolutely no way. What the heck, dude? Look, like, do you see these FPS? This is 4K resolution, 2 times MSAA using high settings. The high preset, which does look a lot worse than the extreme settings that we were just utilizing, right? You can see the lack of ambient occlusion everywhere, shadow detail, textures as well. But, I mean, it still looks decent, and it's getting a high refresh rate experience. And here I was thinking that, yeah, extreme is a bit too much for a 6700 XT, so let's go down to high settings, because that will surely get us like 60 plus FPS, maybe 100 on average. But no, we're here getting 130 on average and basically 100 plus all of the time. That is absolutely insane. I have no words, like, this game is crazy. Alright, you get it. It's an extremely buttery smooth on high settings. I just fast traveled here and restarted counting the FPS, by the way, to see it in the city. But even here, it's not dropping from 100 frames per second. Wow. I forgot how not intensive this game is on the high settings. so well optimized. But again, it does look way worse than the extreme settings that we just played at, right? You can clearly see like everything is way worse looking. Draw distance as well. Vegetation isn't as dense or as pretty as well. And the reflections, everything got a hit to quality, right? But we're basically doubling our FPS anyways, so... Alright, I guess we're just gonna check it out at 1440p high settings for a little bit, because I talked about it previously in this video. And there we go, the 200 FPS are real. Whoa, look at that. Vegetation isn't as intensive right now because we're on high settings instead of extreme settings. They're more intensive on extreme. Basically on ultra and up, it gets more intensive in the vegetation areas. All right, let's go over here. 200s. This is crazy, dude. What the hell? Let's see it outside of the tunnel. Getting out of the tunnel, actually. Okay, over here it gets 160s, so definitely way more intensive. 150s and 137. Okay, it drops by a heck of a lot getting out of the tunnel, but... no problems, it's still high refresh rate. Let's check it out at 1080p next. So 1920 by 1080, here we go. Is it 200 plus all of the time? Probably not. It's probably going to dip down into the 100s, especially in that tunnel area back there, right? So let's see. It's in this direction. I want to do the road to the city once again. Oh boy! Oh boy, okay, yep, it's fine, it's all good. We still got our license plate and the mirrors somehow that they didn't break yet. This game is so well optimized, like, you shouldn't really go below extreme settings or ultra settings maybe at 4K. I'll still set it to ultra to test it at 4K like that, but at these lower resolutions, which are more adequate for a 6700 XT anyways, you should play on extreme preset for sure. Wow. There is no stutter, by the way, so maybe one of the settings was causing those little spikes previously. And getting out of the tunnel, 166 is the minimum. Okay, with 250 on average or so. Let me go up to 4K res, alright, and enable the ultra settings preset, which does look quite a bit better than high once again. Wow, so these are the FPS that I thought we'd get on high settings. Even better than that, actually. But we're on ultra, which makes it look way better. You can clearly see that now there is some better ambient occlusion on everything. Shadows are more detailed, there's less pop-in as well. The reflections are better looking, and the textures at the same time. Like, everything got bumped up slightly once again. This will be a 60 plus FPS experience. Maybe it will drop to the 50s outside of the tunnel or getting out of the tunnel, but I doubt it actually at this point. It's only dropping into the 80s right here. Oh, come on! Come on, we got a friend there. Our friend jumped with us. How's it going? Oh my god. Alright, look at it right here. Not a problem. You know what? I'm gonna go down to that jungle area. Yeah, over here. There we go. Also, the time of the day is also a bit different compared to extreme settings, so that's why it looks a little bit more bland, because there aren't as many shadows, you know. It's midday, basically. It's getting 80-something FPS. 70s at times. Super stable still, guys. What's not stable is my driving, but hey, we're not here to see that. We're here to see the 6700 XT destroying Forza Horizon 5, and it's doing it absolutely fine, as you can see. And finally, the city area. Start counting our FPS. These ultra settings at 4K, super crispy. Not as crispy as it was with 4 times MSAA. I can tell some of the jagged edges here and there, but it's not really that big of an issue. Actually, it's not an issue at all. I'd prefer this to the blurriness that we get in most games these days, for sure. And yeah, it's not dropping. Like, it's getting 70s, pretty much the same experience as it was on the jungle area. But now, things are about to drop, I think. 73, 72, getting out of the tunnel. 63, doesn't even drop from 60, guys. This is perfect. If you're playing at 4K, play on ultra settings. If you're playing at lower than 4K, play at extreme settings. Just have fun in this game. It is a blast to play. It looks amazing. It's super well optimized. I just love this game. The only problem is you can't kill Bob and there is no Jack in it. So please, Forza Horizon 6, I want Jack and I want to be able to kill Bob. Make it the campaign. All right, thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one. Love you all. Bye-bye.